So corrective action plan form. So this is for administrative review findings only, and it is a fillable PDF form. The top section of the corrective action plan does have instructions. Please read them. I've copied and pasted the instructions that are at the top of the CAP template here for you to look through. They are important. The form is fillable. Before you start to complete it, please make sure it's saved to your computer. So breakdown of sections of the corrective action form. So you're going to complete one corrective action plan for each finding identified in the administrative review report. Provide a response for items 1 through 6 to ensure your CAP is approved. Complete the corrective action completed section on page 2, please. Save a copy of each CAP form with an identifiable name. You could name it finding 1, finding 2, but please do that. Very important, do not combine the CAPs into one document. We will send it back to you and ask you to separate them into separate documents. Submit a copy of each completed CAP form to your assigned reviewer on or before the due date. Food service management companies should not complete CAPs. They will be returned if not completed by the appropriate school food authority official. So when we come out and do the review, we come back here to headquarters and we do an administrative review summary report of findings, observations, and initiatives. And when we send you that report, we will be sending you the corrective action plan template at the same time so that you have it. So we're going to go through the sections real quick just so you can see them. And I filled in sections with a finding that we could possibly have. So identify the finding. So in this case, they required a product label or documentation because it was not on file for whole grain rich items. You could even copy and paste the finding from the administrative review summary report into this section 1 because it's going to be what the finding is. Section 2, I know this has a lot of detail, but section 2 is where the guts of everything are. And there's some really great instructions in 2A, 2B, and 2C. And again, I filled in an example just to show you for the level of detail we are looking for. I'm going to stress this a couple of more times. There should be no personal information in the corrective action plan. If you look under section A, part A under section 1, it says the child nutrition director. In the second one, it says cook. No names. We want the roles of the person who is going to be responsible for the corrective action or making sure the corrective action is carried out. Very important, no names in any part of the CAP except the signature. 2D, this is extremely important as well. Think it through. The monitoring, how you are going to monitor that the staff is doing what you said they were going to be doing in step 2. How are you going to make sure that they're doing the steps that were outlined in the corrective action? So in this case, we're having the assistant cook will check if the cook is out. Maybe the nutrition director has a weekly check-in with staff to make sure they're following the CAP. However you want to do it, but make sure you have a method of monitoring, please. Section 3, maintaining records. So this is outlining how you're going to not only keep the records, but as always, as you know, we keep things for 3 plus the current year, so it never hurts to add that little bit in there. But where are you going to maintain the records? And for how long? That one's a pretty straightforward section. The implementation date. So don't state immediately or moving forward because that doesn't really work. What you want to do is when you have thought of your corrective action and you've thought about how it affects your team and what training you're going to have to do. You need to put a date in the implementation that is reasonable to get your staff trained and the process is smoothed out and you've made sure it's going to work, and that's when you're going to implement it. Don't say, the date you're filling out the CAP just because you think it's something we want to hear. We want your CAP to be successful. So it can be a time after you receive the AR report, whatever is reasonable. Section 5, important again, training. So there should be something in here that you've trained whatever staff are responsible in the roles to what the corrective action plan is. And of course, in formulating the corrective action, you have sat down with the staff that will be involved in it, and you've gone over what is reasonable and what they can do and how it's going to be due, and you've formulated a great corrective action plan. And it may involve other training, training that has to do with production records or how to use Exhibit A for the grains. So whatever training you're going to do, it should be listed in this section. Resources and supporting documentation. We may request as part of corrective action documentation submitted to verify corrections were made. So it could be menus, recipes, etc. If not, you can write NA. In this case, for this example, we were saying we wanted to see that nutrition labels, CN labels, and product formulation statements for 1 month have been sent to us to make sure that this problem has been corrected with identifying whole grain rich materials. And finally, the last page, page 2, is corrective action completed. Make sure that someone with the authority to sign has signed it. It could be the child nutrition director or a business administrator, or indeed the superintendent. So make sure you're signing and dating it and putting in the title of the individual. This individual should have the authority to sign the corrective action plans. Your CAP may need to be adjusted, so it's never a bad idea if you want to do a dry run and send it to any of us so we can send back feedback to you. We want your CAP to get signed right away, but we might have to go back and forth if we see some things that need tweaking, but we'll work with you on that. Our child nutrition operations manager may require further adjustment after the CAP is received, so be prepared for that. And again, work with your reviewer while you're developing the CAP. We are here to help. The CAP is approved only when the child nutrition operations manager signs the CAP, and then we will send a signed copy back to you. Another important thing, CAPs can be emailed. They don't need to go through the portal. And they don't need to go through the portal because there are no names on the CAPs. It is just the roles of the people. The only name is the person signing, and that can go through email. No names. We may have observations in the administrative review summary report. Observations must be addressed. You do not need a separate document for observations. They can all be in a Word document that is a bulleted list. But again, I'm going to say no names, roles only, if you have to identify that in an observation. And these can also be emailed to your reviewer.